28 delegates, and we have District 27 Senate. We also have District 28 delegates, and then we also have District 28 Senate here. My name is Alvin Stewart. I currently serve as the chair of the Democratic Central Committee. Also, we will be passing around clipboards if you have questions that you would like to ask. And also, we're going to give a plug for next week's forum. It's going to be here same time. We're going to have County Commissioner District 3 and District 4 next week. I'm going to turn it over to our moderator. It's Elaine Harden.
Well, good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good. I'm glad to see so many faces out here this evening. This is a very important election cycle, and I just want to make sure that we're all informed as we go into those polls, right? All right, good. Well, we have some wonderful candidates here lined up to speak with you on this evening. I want to first go through and introduce each and every one of them, and then I will go over the rules, and then we'll get started. So for District 27, if you would just wave your hand, please. We first have Mr. Jason Fowler. All right. And then next, Mr. Kevin, I'm sorry. Senator Kevin Harris is not here as of yet, I don't think. All right. And then our House of Delegates, District 27A, is Mr. Clinton Crosby Jr. And then Sean Maldon. All right. And Yanil Moore Lee, Esquire. All right. Darrell C. Odom Sr. Thank you. And then our state senator, District 28 candidates are Aaron Corbin. And then we have C.T. Williams. Wilson. I'm sorry, Wilson. All right. And then House of Delegates, District 28. We do not have Albina here yet, but we do have Delegate Deborah Davis. And we have John Jones Jr. And then we also have Delegate Edith Patterson. And then Mr. Evan Smith. All right, so I think everyone is in the house. Can you hear me pretty good?
Yes.
Okay. I do have the echo in my ear, so I want to apologize in advance. I've been dealing with an ear infection for a couple of weeks, so I do apologize. So if you can't hear me, let me know. If I can't hear you, I'll let you know. I do want to go over the rules real quick. The forum rules have been given to all of the candidates. And so that each of you know what their rules are, let's go through them very quickly. Candidates will be provided one blank sheet of paper and a pen for notes. They will not be allowed to use their own paper, their phones, or any pre-written notes to the forum stage. Candidates are seated in alphabetical order, as you see here, and will receive questions in random order. Now, I will do the questions based on each of their categories, so I will jump from one position to the next, okay, so you all know that. There will be no opening statements. Candidates will be asked questions by the moderator, and that will be me, Elaine Hardy, and candidates should not address one another. Candidates will have 1.5 minutes to respond to questions unless the moderator reduces time. Now, I do want to explain about the time. We do have two forms of time keeping. We do have a digital clock, which you see up there that's going to be running. And then we have a manual timekeeper here. So he is going to hold up the green when it's time to go. The yellow means you better get ready to start wrapping it up. That's about your 30 seconds in. And then the red. And that means a stop. So let me apologize in advance because I will cut you off. Thank you. All right. And so then, as this is the candidates forum and not a debate, there is no need for a rebuttal, so we will not have a rebuttal. 2 assigned timers, I just talked about that. Each candidate will be allowed 1 minute for closing statements at the end of the forum. We ask that each candidate respect one another and the rules of this debate. All public questions, which we have clipboards, as was mentioned before. If you have questions, please feel free to write those questions. We're going to take those at the end. We usually start within the last 30 minutes, and we do the public questions. So please make sure you all, this is your opportunity to ask them anything you want. We do ask that you speak to all, when you ask a question, you pose it to all the candidates and not just one specific candidate. No candidate signs or campaign materials will be allowed in the forum area. Are we all good? Yes. Are we all good? Yes. All right, let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to start with our state senators. And I will start with the state senators from District 27, which will be, for now, Mr. Jason Fowler. So, Mr. Fowler, can you all get passed down the, thank you, y'all are ahead. Good job, good job. All right, Mr. Fowler, so I'm going to speak to you directly from the district's specific priorities and representation. And in District 27, how will you strengthen collaboration between the state Senate, House delegation, and Charles County commissioners to deliver results for the District 27? Did you get that?
Sorry.
Repeat the question? Yeah, you were focused on the microphone. How will you strengthen collaboration between the state Senate, House delegation, and Charles County commissioners to deliver results for District 28?
So, for District
27, I'm sorry, 27.
So for me, I would like to say that coalition building already starts now when we are running for office. I have met and have attended many events for all of our commissioner candidates that are here in Charles County. And I know for me, what's very important is making sure that we have continued conversations, that we're supporting not only their elections, but also supporting policy so we can bring dollars back to this district. Ultimately, that is what is most important for me. Every single person that's running for office has my number, and we communicate frequently. So for me, that is probably what I would say is the best way to communicate with our representatives and to make sure that we bring every needed dollar back to this community.
Thank you, sir. The next question is for state senators, candidates for District 28. And I will start with Mr. Aaron Corbin. Mr. Corbin, what do you see as the top 3 priorities for District 28 over the next 4 years? And how will you ensure they remain central in Annapolis?
Okay. I think the top 3 priorities, one is transportation. The transportation getting from here to the DC, Virginia area, it's been horrible. My commute today was about 1 hour and 10 minutes from Virginia. So doing what we can to get some public transportation, supporting the rail, to come all the way out here to Charles County. That's initiative 1. 2 would be the environment. I'm sure everybody's heard of data centers and water polluting the grid. So I believe that we really have to put together some environmental protections to make sure that we are protecting the area here. And 3rd would be small businesses. In this area, we've had a lot of small businesses not be able to make it past the year. I think that there's things that we can do at the state level and on the county level to give small businesses a greater opportunity in this area.
Thank you, sir. And Delegate Wilson, you will have the same question. Would you need me to repeat it?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Firstly, my last 4 years, especially focusing on data centers and energy, being the chair of the House Economic Matters Committee, we put a lot of guardrails around the data centers. I'm very disappointed that they're trying to move on to Charles County. I think it's more of a poison than it is a benefit. The jobs created do not equal the impact and the energy impact. Maryland's an avid exporter. I've been working very hard and actually created a nuclear program last year as well as an offshore wind program the year before. As far as, I have 3 daughters. They all went through public education. One graduated valedictorian 4 years ago. One's graduated valedictorian from McDonough this year. I believe focusing on education, making sure our kids are prepared, not lowering the standard. And lastly, I think there's the issue we have with, and it's hard as a senator, but the overcrowding. At some point, enough's enough. Enough houses are enough, because as the good gentleman said about the transportation, the big problem with transportation is we just keep packing people in. And there's no way out. And I'm not going to sit here and say this light rail is going to happen. I think there's one light rail in the nation. I'm very concerned that we don't do something in the meantime, like rapid bus transit, timing these lights, making sure we do something that we can actually get, because I don't want to put this pie in the sky that my great-grandkids will never see. But we can't have rapid bus transit. We can't have something where the lights go stale during the times that we need them most. So again, I'm not going to look too far in the future. We've been working on them now.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to move to District 27A and for the House of Delegates. And I will start with Mr. Clifton Crosby. Mr. Crosby. All right. How will you strengthen collaboration between Charles and Prince George's counties to ensure 27A receives equitable state resources?
I think the first thing that you have to look at is starting with collaboration. I think my legislative career has been set on collaboration, specifically with working with different groups, but specifically with the people that these bills are going to impact. There's never a time that I believe that a bill should come to the floor that the general public doesn't know about and has a general agreement to. So I think when we're talking about, when we're in Annapolis for 90 days, how are we going to write legislation and represent the people? Well, they need to be right there with us when we're coming up with ideas on how to make their lives better. And, you know, traditionally, Prince George's County, the southern parts of Prince George's County, specifically in my district, and Southern Maryland have been neglected as far as resources when it comes to infrastructure investments and public transportation as the theme goes on. Right now, we have to make it a priority to get these things down here, because I know from the people that I'm speaking to every day, people are making decisions not about beyond this election, but whether they want to live here or not. And to help them make that decision, we need to start ramping up investments in these areas to show them, hey, we're serious about development. We're serious about providing guys resources, but we're just serious about making your lives better. So collaboration and prioritization for Southern Maryland as a whole is where we'll start in Annapolis on day one, and making sure that we're all in alignment from the county government level to the citizens to the Southern Maryland delegation, making sure that we all agree on what the direction we need to be going is and how we're going to get there.
Thank you, sir. Next, Mr. Maldon.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Yes, sir. No worries. How will you strengthen collaboration between Charles and Prince George's counties to ensure 27A receives equitable state resources?
First of all, let me say I am so happy to be here. Thank you for hosting this forum. I think it's important so that folks can come out and hear from the candidates directly.
Can you speak in your
And so what I want to say to your question specifically is this is not something that I had to theorize about. This is not something that I have to even think about. It's a no-brainer. Because I am a former mayor, I have done just that. And so on day one, I understand. And here's what's key, folks. It is very key that folks up here, that we all understand we don't operate in isolation. We operate with a lot of other folks and a lot of other delegates. And as such, we have to have that sort of collaborative appeal and bring folks together. So when I was mayor, we did that, right? We would make sure that even amongst our municipalities throughout the state of Maryland, we were able to bring them all to the table and bring them into the town so that they all felt equally heard and respected and even cherished. I think that's critical. It's very important. I was the former president of the Maryland Black Mayors. So collaboration is just key. And I think that's for Prince George's County, which is where I reside, but also it rings true right here in Charles County as well. So that's what I was saying.
Thank you, sir. Next, we'll have Danielle Morley And you need me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. For me, this is something that I live every day. I was raised in Prince George's County, lived there for over 20 years. I was a young Democrat, very, very active, still very active, have family and friends, and I've lived in Charles County now for almost 14 years. And these are decisions that impact my family and friends. My mother lives in Prince George's County. My very best friend of 40 years lives in Prince George's County. And so I would build on the relationships I already have. I'm the immediate past chairperson of the Board of Education in Charles County. And so of course I have a vested interest. But I'm a graduate of Prince George's County Public Schools. So those relationships have not gone anywhere. And in fact, if anything, they've been strengthened. And that's where everything starts, is relationships. It's earning people's trust. It's being someone that can be relied on. It's being someone who's dependable. It's being someone who has integrity, who has the experience, so people know that when you're talking, they can trust what you're saying because your reputation speaks for itself. So that is something that I would very much rely on, is strengthening the relationships that I have, the coalitions that I've established, serving on the state, national, and local levels also would be something that I would adequately and consistently strengthen. I very much look forward to serving both districts because they both have a special place in my heart. It's not a competition. And I often say I'm the bridge between Charles and Prince George's counties because both mean something to me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Real quick, our online audience said they cannot see the candidates, so I am going to ask from this point, can candidates stand up
Okay.
when you do your responses? My next candidate is Mr. Darrell, Delegate Darrell. Sorry, sir.
Yes, good evening. Can you hear me?
I don't think it doesn't sound like it's coming. I hear you tapping.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all. It's quite simple to me in terms of the question that was asked about ensuring that equally we will be treated, both counties, unilaterally. However, you're a big portion of my constituents in comparison to Prince George's County. And I think that there have been some shared matters that have been done unilaterally or equally to some degree in the past, but I can't speak to that. But I will devote the time and attention to those of you within my constituency here in Charles County, and although I reside in Prince George's County. And every draft bill that I pursue will be written, because that will be my job. I've just finished 90 days of session with the delegation. My job is to draft bills, or to have them drafted to suit the jurisdiction and the constituents that I serve. So it'll be written clearly what resources, purpose of resources, that any funds, projected funds or proposed funds are to be used. So you'll see clearly how that bill and my proposed law that is based upon the needs of the community will work itself out. And I'm always available for.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Now we will move to the House of Delegate candidates for District 28. And my first candidate, if you could please stand, is Abrina. She's joined us, Abrina from McAllister. All right. District 28 is experiencing rapid growth. How will you address infrastructure strain while preserving community character?
That is a great question. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here tonight. So a way that I would address the infrastructure strain is to make sure that we have housing and smart, but it has to be smart growth, right? So currently there is a shortage of affordable housing in our community, but we want housing to come to the community. However, it needs to be smart, meaning we need to make sure that we have housing come to this community. We have the infrastructure to support the amount of people that are going to be on our roads, to support the amount of people that are going to now, students that are going to now be in our school system. And currently we don't have that. That's why there's a strain on our roads. That's why traffic is crazy. And also, so we do need to have an increase in housing, especially for our seniors, affordable housing. However, we have to make sure that we do it in a way that preserves the integrity of our county, right? So that's protecting our environment as well, making sure that we keep the increased growth in specific areas of the county.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we'll have Delegate Davis, Deborah Davis.
Thank you. Thank you all.
You need me to repeat the question?
No. Thank you all. Thank you all for being here. I need real statistics on how much we're growing. Everyone talks about how fast Charles County is growing, but everybody who moves here moves to the development district. We have a specific development district. Where I live, because of downzoning, we can't build a house on less than 20 acres. All right? So my family's land was pretty much taken because we couldn't divide it up between all three of my dad's kids because we only had 10 acres. All right, so there are so many different ways that we can manage growth, and I believe we're managing it. We have a development district that's supposed to fund the rest of the county. We definitely need to make sure we stay up on transportation. We have a planning and growth committee that some of you sit on in here, and we need to make sure that they're doing their job. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Next, we have Mr. John D. Jones, Jr. You need the question repeated?
No, I'm fine. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you again for this opportunity to come speak for infrastructure in the county. One of the big things we have to realize is the county itself has its own unique character. We do want to preserve that. Access to our wildlife, fishing, hunting, Myrtle Grove, all those things are things that are unique to our area. But we also have to make sure that when we bring people into the area, we have resources for them. I live in a food desert. It takes me 20 minutes in either direction to get to a grocery store. Those are things that we cannot have, and we have to prioritize those things so when people do move into the area, they're not having to make a decision on stopping for groceries on the way home from work. They need something, they should be able to run out really quickly and go get something to make dinner. It shouldn't be a life decision on driving to buy groceries. Also, we have to make sure that everyone has access to healthcare. My children were born in Virginia, because I felt more comfortable taking my wife to a hospital in Virginia than I did in Southern Maryland. Those are things that we have to make sure are supported and funded, and we have to address any of the concerns that are raised to us by the community to make sure that we are answering those questions and not just hearing them. Southern Maryland's a unique place. We have strong development, we have a lot of business, but we also have to make sure that we're bringing our dollars to the community and not relying so much on DC and Virginia for our revenue. If we have our people getting employed in Charles County, those dollars stay in the county, and that allows us to do a better job with infrastructure.
Thank you, sir. Next, we will have Delegate Edith Patterson.
Thank you very much for the question. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. When the question is posed, I often think about the comprehensive plan that is in place. It certainly has been worked on throughout many, many decades here in terms of what Charles County is supposed to look like. It's not a plan that flew out of the sky, but certainly it is a result of many, many discussions, forums in local communities, and also the experts regarding how Charles County should look. This area is a growth district. However, if you look at the lower part of the county or the middle part of the county, you will certainly see the open space application that is applied. And certainly when you think about the state is considering really looking at housing and how we can help nonprofits. We have proposals that are in place. This past session, we passed several legislation dealing with how nonprofits can help with housing development. We have proposals to help teachers, to give them affordable housing opportunities. And certainly when you think about the infrastructure, again, the state is working with the counties in a very proactive way to make sure that Charles County looks the way it should. When you think about the number of housing permits, I believe we have reached our quota. So in terms of development, you are in a development district, and I appreciate the fact that we have commissioners who are sort of aware of that, and as a state, we work in tandem together to make Charles County the best that it can be. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Smith.
Hi, thank you for inviting me out here and for the great turnout. So when I'm thinking about what we need to do in order to balance the strain on infrastructure that's currently here and also preserving the community character that we already have, I think about what I've heard from actual Charles County residents, namely that people have been pushed out. There are people who have lived here there for decades who are no longer able to live here because of their cost of living going up in a way that we can't take. And so we need to think about the existing problems that are here. The existing problems that we have are we have the worst commute in the entire United States going to DC. That needs to be addressed, preferably through Southern Maryland Rapid Transit. We need to think about how development is failing us already. That looks like suburban sprawl. And we need to be making sure that we're making more compact and efficient development of infrastructure so that we're not changing the whole appearance and character, as it was put, of the county and preserving our rural areas, but also making our urban areas places where people want to go, places where dollars are being spent and coming into the county. So that would be my answer.
Thank you, sir. This next round will be 1 minute, and I'm going to start with the state senators, and I'm going to start with District 28 state senators. And actually, the question is going to apply to both state senators, District 28 and 27. It's a question that will apply to. All right. I'm going to start with Delegate C.T. Wilson. Sir, can you please stand? Oh, you want to write the question first? Oh, okay. How will you support small businesses, especially minority-owned, veteran-owned, and rural businesses, in assessing state grants and procurement opportunities?
I think it's very important that we grow small business. A lot of times in Annapolis, people forget that minorities actually own businesses as well. I've done a great deal of work with the procurement, making sure that not only we have access to procurement, but we're hiring Maryland people to do the jobs. Because too many of these contracts go out to New Jersey, Delaware, all these areas. And in fact, for those who can't participate and bring enough Marylanders, we're requiring them to hire and train folks, put people in our different training programs. So I've been working very hard to make sure I own a small business. My wife owns a small business right by the NBA. I live it every day. I know it's important to not only remind people that we have small businesses, but to fight for them. I think it's also very important to make sure that we understand that we don't punish them too much. And a lot of times we have the unions come up and they make it very difficult for small businesses to continue to compete with these larger businesses. So I've always balanced that out. If you watch what I've done, you see I've always balanced out to make sure that our workers have rights, but that our businesses can definitely succeed.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Corbin, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Okay. How will you support small businesses, especially minority-owned, veteran-owned, and rural businesses, in assessing state grants and procurement opportunities?
What I would like to do to make sure that small businesses can stay in place here in Charles County is, for one, I would like to loosen some of the regulatory requirements that would be required for new businesses. I know a lot of, depending on the industry, some of those regulatory requirements can really burden the new businesses. I would also like to increase the tax breaks for the small businesses while we're making sure a lot of the wealthy and huge businesses aren't finding loopholes to not pay taxes. And what I would also like to do is I would like for the state to create loan programs, low interest loan programs that small businesses can take advantage of. Because I believe one reason why so many things are going up right now is because the interest rates for land or anything is going up so much that those costs get passed down to the consumers, to the small businesses. And that's what's making it hard for a lot of these businesses to survive.
Thank you, sir. Next, Senator Harris, thank you for joining us, and you're next, sir. Would you like me to repeat the question?
Sure.
All right. How will you support small businesses, especially minority-owned, veteran-owned, and rural businesses, in assessing state grants and procurement opportunities?
So appreciate it, and I'm so sorry that I'm late. Work calls. So appreciate this opportunity, appreciate the time. So one of the few things I realized is this. One, you just got to work with the small business community, get them in a room and ensuring that they're in a room to have those conversations. I know a lot of us can talk about, what we will do, but we can just talk about what we have done and what we will continue to do as a team in Charles County. And that's one, ensuring that we are providing funds to our nonprofits. That was the last part of your question. And we do that every single year. Just this year alone, I think we probably did roughly about $15 million into providing in our small business and our nonprofits. But we also want to make sure that they have the resources that they need. And so we did legislation this past year to provide small businesses with more resources. And so we would just continue to do and build on what we have already done these past 4 years in the next 4 years. So appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Fowler? Do you need me to repeat the question, sir?
No, I wrote it down. Thank you.
All right.
So one of the things I would like to address is I think we can use already available technology that the state utilizes through the State Department of Assessments and Taxation. We should be able to identify businesses that are already paying taxes that are within certain sectors within our, our state. And so when bills or grants are tagged to those, we should be able to create databases that would then let their legal representative for the company know, hey, these are available grants for you in this area. I know that Schlegel Farms in Charles, they apply for solar grants. Those are things that, you need to have community partnerships with the people that are here, living here and working here. I would like to make sure that we also talk about, when we are giving funds to nonprofit organizations, that we are using that money appropriately. There have been many nonprofits, even recently, that have been determined that they cannot find the registered agents for these businesses. So we need to make sure that when we are spending money, that we're doing so with businesses that exist.
Thank you. Sorry. All right, so my next line of question, my next question is also for District 27A and District 28, House of Delegates. So I'm going to start with Delegate Edith Patterson. What are your top 3 budget priorities for the upcoming legislative session, and how do they directly benefit your district?
All right, well, thank you very much. The top 3 priorities in terms of our budget, we just, in fact, approved the budget for the state. One has to do with funding for areas, for example, where the federal government has sanctioned or reduced funding. That has to do with those persons with disabilities, because we have a lot of requests from disability communities. So we are funding for education. I serve in the Ways and Means Committee, so funding for not only our public schools, but also our higher education facilities, and of course funding for safety. I think it's really important when I say safety, I'm also talking about healthcare. Healthcare is one of the real issues that we're looking at in terms of insurance and coverage. And that's why we had to codify. We had to codify so many of our state laws to make sure that when we were impacted by the state, we wouldn't be impacted. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Maldon? I switched up on you.
I would say be y'all so ready.
Same positions though.
That's all right. Listen, it's clear. One of the things that we have to do, I'm sorry,
No, I didn't do it.
Just hold it. I took a ring like,
Hello?
there you are.
Okay, yeah, it's clear. One of the things that we really have to do in the state of Maryland, day one, is, we have to make sure that our veterans are better taken care of. I'm looking at legislation where if you're a veteran, you've served this country, you should be able to go into every single store that exists here and you are automatically honored with some kind of discount. I know under Westmore, he's done some things to increase that and to make things better, but certainly our veterans is a piece of legislation I think is a top priority. I also would like to say, in terms of what's going on the federal level, we're experiencing the squeeze down here, and particularly for businesses. They're experiencing the squeeze, right? One of the things that we really can do with our small businesses is ensure that legislation and money is available for them so they have a better pipeline to access the various programs. For example, federal level has cut 8A entry point. We can do something about that here on the state level, and I think that's something that we must do. We must do it. The last thing, I wrote it down.
sorry,
Nothing
you're
that
out
leads
of
up to our
time.
schools.
You're out of time. Thank you. All right, next, Mr. Smith. You need me to repeat the question, sir? No.
So the top three priorities that I would put in the state budget are, firstly, we need to make sure that the funding programs that were cut from the current federal administration are addressed. We saw that in the last budget where we should look to see, we don't see any sign of that improving, so that's probably going to have to be addressed again. Secondly, though, we need to allocate higher wages for our educators and for all of our public sector workers on the entry level. Part of the reason that we're struggling and the classrooms are overloaded is because we can't attract people into serving in these roles the same way that we used to be able to. They can't handle the cost of living crisis because their wages aren't improving. And lastly, we need to make sure that we are developing our alternatives to fossil fuel plants. As it is, we've seen the oil prices go up and down and up and down. We can't afford these things. So we need to make sure that we're developing solar, we're developing wind, and we're developing nuclear programs to the best ability that we can.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Morley, you need me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So currently for fiscal year '27, the state's top three funding priorities are healthcare, education, and transportation. I would fully support healthcare being the first. No one should go bankrupt as a result of having to have adequate healthcare. I firmly believe healthcare is a right and not a privilege. And I'm proud to say, as a breast cancer survivor, I know all too often how exactly people do end up going bankrupt if they don't have adequate healthcare. So for those that have ongoing conditions, those that have things that they just cannot get past, and they need ongoing care, I want to support that. Education is always going to be a top priority for me for obvious reasons. I'm on the Board of Education, serve on the state, national, and local levels in education, want to support our teachers and want to support our students. And transportation is very, very important, but for me, I think the third would be social services. I want to be mindful of those of us that have, those that are in our most vulnerable populations, our seniors, our multilingual learners, our foster children, those people that honestly cannot fend for themselves. I believe that we should be taking care of them, and I appreciate that we spend quite a bit of money.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
For priorities for funding in our area, the three biggest ones for me are education, protecting our natural resources and finding alternative energy solutions, and safety and healthcare. I lump those two together, as some others have mentioned on the days, because our community is dependent on its people. And if a illness, a bad diagnosis comes from those same small businesses that we talked about funding and supporting, rely on people that need to have access to healthcare. It's hard to run a small business if a member of the household gets sick and you can't afford to take care of them, and how do you then manage the business? We have to make sure that we're taking care of our natural resources. Our area, fishing, hunting, are things that we should be prioritizing and making sure that we protect as a legacy for our children and our children's children. And part of that is making sure that we have natural and alternative energy solutions. All those things will help reduce our costs and make sure that the dollars that we do make go further in our community.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Crosby.
For me, the top three priorities for this upcoming session will be, one, education. I know a lot of talk is around making sure we're funding the blueprint, but I think when we look at education, we have to make sure we're going past that. We have record-breaking spending in education, but we're not seeing record-breaking, low drops in absenteeism. We're not seeing record-breaking in comprehension levels. Education is not just a financial issue, so we have to make sure that we're putting in the systems that actually lead to teachers feeling the support that they say they need, and making sure the students are actually getting the resources that they actually need to be successful in the classroom. Second is making sure we're focusing on transportation, specifically in Southern Maryland. And like I said earlier, we have been traditionally neglected when it comes to investments into transportation. I have a commute into Quantico, Virginia every single day, and I hate that commute. Most people who live in this area drive into DC every single day, and we know how bad that commute can get. And lastly, what I'll touch on is accountability. We need to make sure that when we're talking about how we're spending money in Annapolis, we're not doing so willy-nilly with a blank check. We need to make sure that we're
Thank you,
I lost
sir.
my second.
It's okay. Delegate Davis.
Thank you. If I only had to pick 30, I would start with continuing to bring home our share, Charles County's share of the state dollars. We do that every year. We do a darn good job at it, and that would be the first thing I would do. I would also continue to fund our nonprofits. We do a great job at that, and I would specifically, for this year, I would specifically deal with nonprofits that support our youth. They fill the void locally, and I think that's really important. And lastly, education, fully funding the blueprint. We spent a lot of time preparing that blueprint, making sure everyone was involved, making sure all the stakeholders were there, and I believe we need to follow through with it and continue to fund it. Thank you.
Thank you. Avina and McAllister.
Thank you so much for that question. My top three budget priorities would be, one, education. I am a mom of 2 Charles County Public School kids. 2, it would be funding affordable housing. Many of the seniors in our community are currently unhoused. So when people think about, oh, well, seniors, they may not be homeless, but they're unhoused. That means living with their children or their friends. You know, my own mother, before she passed away from cancer, lived with me. So it would definitely be setting aside money for affordable housing for our seniors. And then transportation. As I said earlier, we need to find solutions for transportation. Right now, we have such bad traffic here in Charles County. So that would be something that I would focus on. As well as, and I know you said 3, but I have to say this, adequate health care. As I said, my mom, when she had her battle with cancer, one of the, oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you. I did apologize before you got here. Okay. We have some really good public questions. Mr. Odom, I'm sorry, yeah, so I want to get to these, but I'm going to let you go first, obviously. Mr. Odom, Delegate Odom, I'm sorry about that. Stand up, sir. Do you need the question repeated, sir?
No, I do not.
All right, thank you.
I want to say it real fast because a minute goes by quick. But I know juvenile justice and DDA, I don't want to class them together, but I know that I'm certainly not in favor of automatically putting a child in an adult institution. It's proven that recidivism rate is 34%. So we need to maybe analyze, and part of the reason they go there is because we don't have the funding for the institutions for them. So we need to get monies to take care of those issues. Also, public safety. I would look at an avenue in which we can bring more revenue. And one bill that I was successful getting through the House was a actual rental bill. Folks that rent cars in the state from out of state do not pay tickets. If they get a speeding ticket on a camera, red light ticket, they do not pay them. And I had a bill go through the House successfully, but it did not complete the Senate. And the last one is veteran services.
Sorry. Can you pass the microphone all the way to the end to Mr. Fowler? We're ready to do a junior lightning question. Everybody will have 15 seconds. 15 seconds to answer. 15. Pass the mic down.
You said 15?
15. I said 20.
Yes, no.
I don't think we're going to get it.
Lightning, all right, let's go.
I mean, you gonna do 20? You gonna do 20?
It might not go to 15.
20, and I don't know if it's Block one. I need him to back up.
I got 5 more.
Okay.
5 extra seconds.
Ooh, man, good time.
Okay. All right, it's hard. It's hard.
You're gonna be turning the card like that.
Okay, so everybody will answer the same question. You have 20 seconds to answer, all right? So, Mr. Fowler, it's on you first. How will you ensure transparency and accountability in your legislative work?
So as an attorney, I am legally not allowed to lie, so I feel like that is a great start. I have ethical obligations to not lie, and I can't do it in the courtroom, and I won't do it in Annapolis. I think holding oneself to high ethical standards is something that I take very seriously in my job, and it's something I definitely do when I'm in Annapolis.
Thank you. Next,
Just straight down the line.
Senator Harrison.
You know, repeat the question.
How will you ensure transparency and accountability in your legislative work?
Is one, just being available, just showing everybody what you're doing, providing newsletters on what you're doing, and just being open to the people, keeping your office open all the time. And for folks for meetings, my team, my staff, they tell you all the time that we're meeting with folks 24/7, all the time. So just being available to the people at the end of the day.
Thank you, sir.
I actually speak about a policy I want to put on the floor as delegate. I actually want to have performance standards put in place for all of our programs, all of our departments. That way that us as taxpayers know exactly how we're performing as a government. When we're in Annapolis, we're talking about spending money, we need to know exactly how we're performing. We need to know where we're not doing good and not doing good enough at. So being very clear with how we're doing as a state government is very important.
All right, thank you. All right, next.
As a child of God, I am biblically not able to lie. So I would say certainly I would put in place a dashboard. You should be able to have a dashboard where folks can go and look and see where you are, when you submitted it, how it's progressing on it, where is it, in which house, in which chamber. That's number one. And I create that. You can, again, these are not things I'm creating now on the spot. These are things I've done. I created when I was the mayor what's called the tracker, so everyone knew what's going on.
Thank you. Next.
This is something that we have already done, and I'm proud to say, as the member and at the time, the chairperson of the Board of Education. We started by revamping our entire agenda, so it was either tied to the strategic plan or student data. We also were very transparent in terms of being accountable to people with our board metrics. We started by analyzing ourselves and our work. We were tracking how much time we were spending on what particular subjects, and also, most importantly, the money.
Next.
Transparency and accountability is something that's in our own nature. I've served 30 years in the military. All right? I certainly have been held accountable when needed, and no accountability. I've served as the fire chief in Prince George's County. I was accountable to the public. I went in their homes and aided them and sent people in there to do their jobs. Thank you.
Next.
Okay, so luckily I work in compliance at WMATA, so I deal with accountability usually. I feel like the biggest thing is to give people answers. Sometimes things don't happen the way we expect it to happen or how everybody wanted it to happen, but there might be a good reason for that. And I believe that talking to people, giving those thorough explanations of why a decision went somewhere is monumental.
Yes, sir. Just hold it till the green comes on. There you go. No,
wait, I'm gonna master this.
It'll take your whole time.
Apparently, I lose my time. As far as accountability, I believe in obviously public meetings. Many people hear my cell phone number because if you ask, I'll give it to you. But I don't want to say I am an attorney and I'm actually paid to lie. So I guess we have different kind of attorneys. But I believe just always being truthful when people ask me. They may not like the answer. Like everybody asks about grants, we have to remind people of their taxes. Making sure we don't just tell you what you want to hear, but tell you actually the truth and the impact.
Thank you, sir. Next.
Thank you for this question. Currently in my role at the State's Attorney's Office for Charles County, for the last 2 years, we have been working through our data to create a dashboard. So that is something that I would do as your state delegate. Create a dashboard, you'll know exactly the number, the name of every bill that I'd be working on, and watch it track all the way through, so you'll be informed. And also, I will hold town hall meetings. I love talking to people. I did it as chair of the Democratic Central Committee.
Okay, already doing it, meeting with everyone, anyone who wants to meet. We hold local public hearings, ensuring local public hearings at the local level if you want local legislation. And lastly, bi-weekly meetings while we're in session, but it doesn't work if you guys don't come. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
Transparency and accountability are required, they're requirements. So the easy thing to do is to over-communicate, make sure that everything that we're doing is shared so everyone has access to the information, making sure that we are being honest with what we talk about. And when we provide you all information, it is truth and not spin. Makes it much easier to keep track of what you told people.
Thank you. Next.
I offer a bi-monthly newsletter for every constituent. I meet with the Ethics Committee attorney. I have a full financial disclosure. I have a voting record where I have not missed but one attendance to a full-time record in Annapolis. We offer also with the committee have a track record of all of our votes, and I've responded to over 500 constituents.
Thank you. Next.
So as the communications director for the Young Democrats of Southern Maryland, I understand that transparency and accountability starts with communication. So I need to make sure that I'm meeting the community where they're at. It's not enough for me to have an open door all the way up in Annapolis where people can't get to. I need to be coming down here and meeting you all where you're at. Coming to the farmers markets, coming to your doors even and asking, what do you think of me? What do you need? Just addressing you all.
Thank you. All right, so these next set of questions are coming from the people that are in front of you candidates, because this means a lot to them. And I want to try to get through as many as I can. I apologize to you if I do not get to your question. Some of your handwriting, not going to be able to leave. All right, so I will call this session Whosoever Will, and I'm going to give them 20 seconds again to try to address the questions. So I'll read the question first, and it's whosoever will, you raise your hand if you think you want to take it on, okay? All right, but only one person gets to answer, because we need to get through, all right? I'm sorry. Yeah, but each question. I got a stack of questions. Everybody will get it. Okay? All right. Recognizing the challenges that our schools have faced in recent years, how will you support our students, teachers, parents, and ensure the implementation of the blueprint? All right, she jumped up, popcorn, sorry.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Crosby, you had your hand up first. I sure did. Delegate Davis, I have to defer to him, I'm sorry. I thought I saw. Delegate Patterson, I'm sorry.
Order on that hand or the jump up.
Y'all know what to do.
Please stand up, Mr. Crosby. 20 seconds on the clock. I apologize.
Education is not just a budgetary issue. If it were, we would already have schools with flying colors numbers with the amount of money we're spending on education. We need to have systems in place. We need to have minimum wage for teacher support. We already have doing great work with teacher minimum wage. Now we need minimum wage for teacher support. We need to make sure that we're not putting too much technology in the classroom where it doesn't need to be, because kids need to be able to read from books, not iPads.
Thank you. Next whosoever will question. Y'all watch it. Let me know who's first. Raise your hand.
Do you want us to stand up or stand up?
Yeah, stand up. Whoever stands up first. Go back in 7th grade teaching. Okay. We have a strain on the local hospital in La Plata and the lack of highly experienced doctors and shortages of nurses. Would you support a new hospital to take the strain off the current hospital? Thank you. Yes.
I don't know if the answer is supporting a new hospital to take a strain off the current hospital. I think we need to have more incentives to bring more doctors here. As I said, I walked through my mother's battle with cancer with her, and I had to remove her from that hospital because they just did not have enough support. We need more incentives for doctors to come to Charles County, right? And that's giving them.
Thank you. Okay, here's another one. How do you, you're ready?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you propose Charles County gains additional revenue without housing, data centers, or raising property taxes? No one else wants? Mr. Smith is up. Thank you.
Tough question. I think that the answer starts with making sure that we're holding large businesses to account, closing corporate tax loopholes, closing the LLC loophole, using global combined reporting, making sure that those at the top are paying their fair share, because we know the people in the middle at the bottom already do.
Thank you, sir. Next question. Will you support or oppose the Maryland General Assembly balancing the budget on the back of Charles County, such as pushing pensions onto the county? Yes, sir. Delegate.
If I understand the question correctly, I certainly wouldn't support putting anything solely on the backs of one jurisdiction, if I understand the question correctly. So the answer to that, short answer to that is no, I'm not in favor for that. But if there's some areas around pensions and things of that nature that needs attention, I'm taking that time.
Thank you. All right. Next question. Do you support the Break the Bonds initiative? Divesting the, I'm trying to read this. Divesting the Maryland State Retirement and Pension System from direct investments into apartheid state of Israel.
What?
I don't know what that question is. I don't know, I'm sorry, the person who wrote that question, I'm not sure. Next question. I live in District 3 and we have, I'm sorry, I live in District 3 and we have no outside youth facilities, no entertainment venues or anything. How will you help District 3? Delegate Patterson is up.
Thank you very much. We have, in terms of the state, supported the county in terms of having a recreational center in the Sears building. As a state delegate and as also a senator, we have funded the Boys and Girls Club in Indian Head, and this year we have funding for Boys and Girls Club in Waldorf. So we certainly were.
Thank you. Appreciate you. How difficult is it, or will it be, to get things for Charles County under a current form of government?
What? That's a county commissioner question. What are you talking about here? That's a county commissioner question.
There's a limited amount of stuff. I'm not trying to talk. There's just a limited amount of things that we have impact on. We have to work with our commissioners. We don't get to tell them what to do. So a lot of these things that we talk about local issues.
But your public is here and they still want some.
That was my answer.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Delegate. I see your frustration, but I'm just letting you know, I'm just asking what the people ask. Thank you. I love you all. All right, here's one. How will you proactively engage with citizens across communities to understand their priorities, and what methods will you use to ensure these voices are consistently reflected in the legislative proposals that you will adopt? Yes. More lady.
Okay, there we go. All right, how I'll engage with citizens is exactly what we've been doing. It's direct outreach. It's newsletters, it's town halls, it's webinars, it's meeting people where they are. It's understanding what's important to them, being accessible, giving out your real contact information, responding to messages. I want people to feel that they can trust us, that they're going to get the truth from us, and that we're going to always respond.
Thank you. Once in office, what strategies do you intend to implement to build a consensus around making Maryland more affordable for residents, starting with registrations for vehicles? These are high fees now, or the impact on households. I'm just reading. Who's next? You already, both of you already. Well, go ahead, Delegate Wilson. Because I didn't count that last one where you were.
One of the most important things we have to do is realize, because a lot of things we talk about, grants, things of that nature,
Here you go.
You guys can start over.
Yes, you
But
may.
many of the things we ask for, unfortunately, cost. Every time we talk about, be it raises, be it grants, be it Boys and Girls Clubs, they cost money. And so I don't like when people sit here and lie to you and say, oh, I'm gonna bring you all this, and it's for free, because we have to balance our budget as a state. We don't get to just keep printing money. So we have to make sure that when we ask for something, I'm not saying we don't, it's important enough to pay for, because it will always be on our backs to pay.
Thank you.
You gotta be honest.
When you represent your district in Annapolis, how will you ensure that the bills you propose reflect the needs of those you represent? If you've already done it. Oh, thank you. You've already gone. Trying to let everybody get this last round in. Go ahead. Senator Harris.
I appreciate it. So I think that's a great question, especially it's super unique for District 27 where we represent 3 different counties. What works for Charles County may not work for Prince George's, what works for Prince George's may not work for Calvert. So it's extremely important to not only represent Charles County, but also represent District 27 well, because it's key to understand all 3 elements in which when you go into Annapolis.
Thank you. HB 1492 would have given the right to strike, to the teachers and librarians throughout the state. Given that librarians in Charles County recently unionized and are struggling with union busting, and that teachers are struggling with low funding and increasing class sizes, will you support the right to strike in the next legislative session? If not, how will you support workers in your district?
It's a yes or no question.
I'm reading what they wrote, sir.
No, I just want us all to
I
answer
don't
yes or
know
no.
whether they did or not.
Does the bill pass?
Mr. Fowler.
Yes, yes, I support it.
And whoever asked that question, Delegate Wilson said the bill
The
has
bill did pass. That was
passed.
brought to our attention. I'm not trying to take anybody's time, but that did pass.
No, that's fine. You have anything more to offer on it?
It's still what?
It got stuck in committee.
Did it pass?
There's a problem. It's passed out of the House. I'm not a senator yet.
In the Senate,
So,
I would support it.
Yes, sir. Okay, good.
Our campaign is very strong for labor rights and unions' right to organize, strike, and otherwise. So you'll see it on oral literature. We have union bugs on
It
everything.
says it's effective October 1st.
Yeah.
Effective October 1st.
Okay. All right. Here we go. So those are all the questions that I think that we are able to ask on this afternoon. And I want to take this opportunity to give each of the delegates, each of the candidates an opportunity to have, we'll give them 30 seconds to wrap it up. 60, y'all want the whole minute? Okay, 1 minute, 1 minute. I know, but it also said I can change them. Okay, so let's go, Mr. Fowler, and your closing remarks. And just go straight down the line, please.
Ready to go? For those who do not know me, my name is Jason Fowler. I'm born and raised in District 27. I am from PG County and grew up in Calvert. And for me, I think what's really important in this race is a few things. Our politicians. When we look at our politicians, who is giving them money? And how are they going to make decisions for you in Annapolis based on the money that they are given? I do not take any corporate money whatsoever. Everything I do is for working people, and every policy I will put in Annapolis is to do the same. I think when we look at our politicians and who we're electing, people need to take a true and honest look at the characters of the individuals that are there, but also who is the person behind the scenes that's going to control them when it comes to bills. And I think that that's really important in this election to highlight, but also very important for all of us to look at every candidate at the table and understand who's really funding these folks.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. So Senator Kevin M. Harris here, and I appreciate you all being here. Appreciate the time that you all spent to come listen to us. It's important to know that I spent 11 years in this world's finest military, tours in Iraq, tours in Afghanistan. I say that because I don't allow anyone to question my integrity, right? I have put my life on the line multiple times for this country. So nobody will pay me to change my mind about anything. Don't get confused just because someone doesn't want to give to a campaign and decides to give to another campaign that someone's has actually bought. That's not how it works. They may actually just want to work with that individual. I stood here 4 years ago without a penny, right? But still got elected. And so the key here is to understand what a person brings to the table and focus on what they have done over these past 4 years and not try to criticize to bring yourself up.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Clifton Crosby Jr., born and raised in Charles County, and I think what's important to me and should be important to you all in this room is about where we're going. I think a lot of times in election years, a lot of people can tell you, not just in this race, not just in local races or even nationally, people can tell you what they did or how the past shaped whatever's going on, but that can only tell half the story about how we got here. What's important in election year is people telling you where we're gonna go. So I think when you're making your decisions in the booth, be clear on what people are telling you they're gonna take you, because that's what election year is about. Not about what we did pre-COVID, not about what we did in the past, what we plan to do, and how we plan to build on what we already did. Where are we going? How are we gonna course correct? Let people tell the truth about where we are and where we're going, and let the candidate you choose have the vision for the district or the county that you were in, and just ride with them.
Thank you, sir.
I clicked it back up.
Sean Mallory, listen, this race is going to be about, maybe contrary to what some of my colleagues believe, it is about leadership. It is about tested leadership. It is about the experience that you need to start day one. I am the only candidate in my race that has executive leadership as well as legislative leadership in a voted, elected capacity. I was elected as the mayor, and in that role, I was able to bring the first ever in 30 years development to my community. I was able to really make changes for the entire community, and we looked at even the business district of our area. And so that's what I'm about. Also, I may not have the biggest words. I don't have a law degree, but what I do have is transparency. And I will be honest, and I will tell you what I know and what I don't know. And more than anything, I believe it's paramount that we keep the residents first.
Thank you.
Thank you all again, Yanel Moore-Lee, proud attorney. I've heard a lot of shade around attorneys until you need one, right? But anyway, I am a wife of a veteran. I'm a mother of public school students. I'm a very proud member of the Board of Education. As I mentioned, the bridge between Charles and Prince George's. I stand in everything I've done. And the reason why my tagline is experience, integrity, and results, because you need all three. You need a proven leader who has the experience to tell you where you're going, who has the vision. You need someone who has the integrity, who has served proudly without any scandals, without any incidents. And you need someone who has demonstrated results as they've served in that position. You need all three. So you can't chat GPT your way through this election. You can't make things up on the spot. You have to have the real relationships to be able to reach people. You have to have the experience to be able to understand what is going to work and what's not going to work. I tell people all the time, sometimes the answer is no. I'm never going to lie to you. I'm going to shoot it to you straight. I stand where I stand, and I stand proudly with all of you and ask you to do the same with me. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. My name is Gerald Osceola, and I'm proud to be here tonight and speak to each and every one of you. I've only had basically one job at a time. Okay. I've spent and made careers out of both of the ones that I had prior to being in the legislature now. I've enjoyed the work I've done, serving the people in every capacity of employment that I've had. I've enjoyed it in the fire service, going from jumping on fire trucks, providing first aid, putting out fires and rescuing people, to being the chief of the organization. I've enjoyed the military, from when I was just a buck private in the Army. Then I went into the Coast Guard later and completed my career in the Coast Guard. And I know how to work with people, and I love working with people and want to continue to work with people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Aaron Corbin. I'm also an attorney, since we're all saying that. And an Air Force veteran, so that puts you a little above the Army veterans. I believe I can do a few things if you like it. One, I believe that I have the transportation background. I've worked for Mark since I've been out in Maryland. I've worked for Amtrak. I currently work for Metro. What I do is compliance. We make sure things that are working right. And a lot of things on the transportation level is not working right in Maryland. I worked on the Silver Line project in Virginia, so I have experience expanding rails. And also the economy. I feel like with the compliance background, when we find problems, we make the process more efficient. And a lot of us are wondering, we're spending all this money on education, why we're not getting the numbers? Well, when people don't have housing, they don't have food, they don't have what they need, kids are not going to succeed in school. So yes, we want to do good with school, but we're wasting money if we're not putting the money in the economy. I had something else, I'm not going to remember for a second.
I think I'm Delegate Wilson. I've been here 16 years. This is my 16th year. I live here. My kids go to public school, graduated, very proud. I go to church here. I'm a defense attorney. My wife has a business here. I work here. About half of my business is pro bono work that I do for the public defenders, because I serve the people. I try to. I know I'm not a typical politician for y'all that know me, way too many tattoos and curse too much, but I'm a fighter. And I'll say that not everybody can be bought. It doesn't matter how much money you give, because I don't even pay attention who gives it to me. I just make sure it's spent, taking care of people here. But I'll say this, you cannot be successful in politics if you don't get off the bus. And too many people talk about all the things they're going to do when they get to Annapolis, and they just get in line. I fought for foster kids when nobody helped me. I fought to change the face of this state briefly just to go towards nuclear. I fought for victims of sexual abuse against my own party for 10 years because I don't mind walking, and I don't mind walking alone, because at the end of the day, I know what the right thing is to do, and it's to be a fighter. It's not to be a coward. It's not to wait for somebody to tell you it's okay. And that's the kind of leader I've been, and I will continue to be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Labina Phil McAllister. I've lived in this county since 2007, right out of college with my husband. We have 3 children in this community. I've served this community for a very long time. Many of you in this room, as I look out, you know me. Many of you have been to my very first baby shower. Before I became a mom, you knew me because I was serving this community. I served this community as the chair of the Democratic Central Committee, working to get other Democrats elected. I didn't do it for a title, I did it because it's something that I love to do, informing people. But now as a mom to a child that is neurodivergent, I said I have to step up to the plate because children and families that are in my position deserve a voice. I'm living this in real time. This is not about a position for me. It's about being a voice and advocating for those that are not being heard. So I can't do this by myself. I need each and every one of you so we can do this together. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Delegate Deborah Davis. Most of you know me. You know me because I served as a Charles County Commissioner for 8 years, and you know because you voted for me for the last 2 terms as your state delegate. I am also an attorney. Who better to make the laws than the person who actually is there to defend them and knows how to write laws? I'm a proven leader. You know it firsthand, and I'm a no-nonsense communicator. It gets me in trouble. And I've earned the respect of my colleagues. I am the chair of the Charles County delegation. I've been it for a while now, and I get to herd the cats, and I enjoy it. I also have earned the respect of our brand new speaker because I've been appointed the vice chair of the Judiciary Committee, which is a goal of mine for so many years. And in 2021, I got to lead police reform for the state of Maryland, and that has been great. Thank you, and I appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
John Jones. I'm a scientist. I'm not an accountant. I'm a scientist. I'm a product of this county. I graduated high school at the age of 16, went to North Carolina A&T, biology major. My parents dealt with some severe illnesses. My father had severe kidney disease, resulted in a rare disease called calciphylaxis. So I dropped out of school. I'm a non-traditional student. I came back to Southern Maryland to take care of my dad and ended up restarting my education at the College of Southern Maryland. I bought my first home here. I've had my first children here, my first degree here. Everything that I've done as an adult has been in this area, and because I'm not a politician, I've been able to listen to and hear everyone's complaints about what's going on. And being someone that grew up in this area, as an adult, was raising kids in this area, there's nothing more important to me than making sure that the place that I live is safe, well-funded, and taken care of.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, my name is Edith Patterson. I am a public servant. I've been in public service, or some people will say politics, for many years. I've been a resident of Charles County since 1973. Why am I so committed to staying in public service? It's because you need someone who has courage, someone who understands the system. I've served in many capacities, whether it's school board, even chair of the Democratic Central Committee, and serving many years as a delegate. Why is that important? It's because when you are in service, you have to understand the needs of the people. And when you think about the legislation that I've sponsored, the funds that we've brought back, that I have been part of bringing back to Charles County, it is pretty evident. I'm proud of the fact that many of the people who have never, ever gotten legislative bond initiatives or monies are now getting it. Over $71,000 are offered each year to our students. That's why I continue to serve. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Evan Smith. I am here because we're struggling, and we're in desperate need of guiding vision for our future. I showed up in Baltimore at the state's lawsuit against ICE to prevent them from coming to Hagerstown. They're still trying to come here. And there are still sheriffs trying to defy the laws that the General Assembly has passed. People ask earlier about Israel, but year over year, the Judiciary Committee has refused to put Delegate Severo's bill to separate Maryland nonprofits from funding Israel to the floor. And I will fight for a Maryland that is first in the nation in protecting immigrant communities, is first in the nation in not being involved in these foreign wars. And within my first term, I will dedicate myself to finally breaking ground on the Southern Maryland Rapid Transit Project. For 30 years we've gotten study after study, 7 studies going on 8. And you don't have to agree with me on everything, but my perspective is needed in this race.
Thank you. All right, well, you got to hear from the candidates, you got to know a little bit about them. And before I let you go, I have one quick announcement that I have to make on behalf of the Charles County Democratic Central Committee. We invite each of you to come out to our TCAL annual signature Truman Kennedy Obama dinner and awards banquet. We call it TKO for short. And it will be next Friday, this Friday, the 24th of April. All right, y'all was coming down. Y'all, I hope y'all got a ticket. Y'all got a ticket. Okay, so the 24th, the doors open at 6:30 and everything kicks off at 7:00 p.m. Our Speaker of the Maryland House of Delegates will be our keynote speaker, so it's going to be something to enjoy. So make sure if you haven't purchased your ticket, please go to Charles County Democratic Central Committee website and you'll be able to purchase your ticket. Or I can let you scan right here. The second thing is we are looking for volunteers to help. Part of our work is to get out in the community and to make the constituents aware of these candidates that we want to support in the polls. So make sure that we have people helping us get out here and alert people. We have found out just recently that some people didn't even know this was an election cycle year when they went door knocking. That's pretty scary, right? So we need to be more informed. But I'd like for you to sign up if you're interested. Ms. Joyce Little, raise your hand in the back, please. She's going to sign you up. It's going to take just 2 seconds on your way out the door, all right? Let's give a round of applause for our candidates.
Yeah.